spent way too long on it. Today we're talking about the recently announced Air Jordan 2021 summer lineup, some brand new Yeezy colorways, a USPS lawsuit, as well as the very possible Yeezy D-Rose collection or Yeezy Rose collection dropping in the very near future. All of that and more to come in today's video. What's up everybody, I'm Hoodie Setho and this is Weekly Heat. Starting things off today, we've got first official images of the upcoming Nike KD 14. Kevin Durant's latest signature with Nike definitely leans more towards the iterative improvement side than the complete overhaul side. In fact, at first glance, this shoe looks very similar to the KD 13, except this time around with a strap. Actually, the more that I look at this shoe, the more that it reminds me of a pair of Kyrie's. It looks a lot like the Kyrie 6s. You've got the strap, you've got the shape, you've even got the ripple texture on the heel, which I know was originally taken from the Nike Air Yeezy 2s, but even still, that detail is very reminiscent of the Kyrie's. Now, I'm not 100% sure who designed this shoe or came up with the initial concept, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same designer that did the Kyrie's. Also, another design detail that I noticed on this shoe was the medial side of the strap, and that detail kind of looks like it was inspired by a pair of Nike Prestos, which is actually kind of cool. As far as tech goes, Nike has not been forthcoming about that information as of yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's very similar to the Nike KD 13s. And good news for you if you're excited about picking up a pair of Nike KD 14s, the shoe should be releasing in the next couple weeks on April 17th, and I believe it will be dropping in this colorway. I'm not sure exactly what this colorway is called or the meaning behind it, but I'm assuming because we're seeing images of this shoe, this is the colorway that we're getting first. Next up, it looks like we're getting a brand new Yeezy 700 MNVN colorway called the Blue Tints. I know there was a restock for a pair of MNVNs sort of recently, but I can't remember the last time we got like a brand new colorway. Now, to be honest, this shoe is definitely not my favorite Yeezy. In fact, I don't have any pairs at the moment. I'm okay with not having any pairs. With that being said though, out of all the 700 MNVNs that have released so far, the blue tint colorway, in my opinion, is the cleanest. It's just kind of a nice summer colorway. It's kind of chill, it's kind of like sky blue. I'm into it. Of course, you've still got that large 700 reflective detail on the medial side, as well as a black accent on the midsole and black details around the tongue and around the toe and the heel of the shoe. But design-wise, that's pretty much all there is to it. And if you're looking to grab a pair for yourself, they should drop sometime in July of this year. However, I do think that there's more exciting Yeezys dropping around the same time, so if I had to choose between the more exciting Yeezys and these, I'd probably go for like the Monopack 350s or whatever foam runners are dropping in July over these. Speaking of foam runners, it looks like we've got a brand new Yeezy Foam Runner colorway dropping in May called the Mineral Blues. Now, what I find kind of cool about this release is that apparently it's dropping in full family sizing, which I don't think has happened yet. I think we've only had like maybe down to size 5. I'm not 100% sure on that, but the good news is for those of you that want to outfit your kids in a brand new pair of Yeezy Foam Runners, the Mineral Blue colorway might be the colorway to do it in. And actually, come to think of it, the fact that they're releasing this shoe in full family sizing leads me to believe that it might be one of the most available foam runners yet. Obviously, I love the shape of the shoe, I love the way that it feels on foot, but my favorite part about this release is the colorway. This mineral blue is like not exactly a navy and it's not exactly a gray blue, but it's somewhere in between, and it's a really very nice and clean and wearable color. This is 100% a shoe that I'm going for. I mean, I know I've gone for all the foam runners, but this one in particular, I've got to pick up. Now, what's interesting about the foam runner is that it seems like it's going to be one of the most widely available Yeezys ever because of how seemingly easy it is to manufacture the shoe. That being said, as of right now, the Yeezy Foam Runner is still one of the most limited Yeezys ever made, so there's kind of a weird discrepancy there, and I'm wondering if this shoe is going to be the shoe that we're going to get just a huge amount of pairs of. But we'll just have to wait until May to find out how available these shoes will be, and when these mineral blue Yeezys do drop, I will be trying to give you guys a full review. So it looks like around Christmas time of this year, we're getting a brand new Air Jordan 1 colorway called the handcrafted colorway. Obviously, from this image, you can tell that this shoe is a rendering based on a leak, and unfortunately, this rendering is the only information we have about this sneaker other than a possible release date. Apparently, the idea behind this colorway is that the shoe is supposed to be made up of a ton of different materials that come in a bunch of different colorways, and so it's supposed to look handcrafted, hence the name. And I wouldn't be surprised if the shoes ended up looking something like the Bodega Nike Dunk Highs, which also had a very handcrafted feel to them. Now, to be honest, I'm kind of worried about the Air Jordan 1 handcrafted because it has the potential to be really cool, but it also has the potential to be just complete crap. When mass manufactured stuff is designed to look handmade, it sometimes doesn't look handmade and instead just looks very sloppily mass manufactured. So until we see in-hand looks at this shoe or final images of this shoe, we won't know whether this shoe is going to turn out dope or nope. But we'll just have to wait and see. And it does look like we do have some time to wait because the tentative release date for the Air Jordan 1 handcrafted isn't until December 19th of this year. But sticking with Air Jordan 1 news, it looks like we finally have a release date for the upcoming Air Jordan 1 Bred Patent Leather. As of right now, we still don't have any official images or even in-hand images of the patent leather Bred Air Jordan 1s yet. All we have are these renderings by Z sneakerheads, and unfortunately, in a lot of cases, the renderings end up looking a lot better than the shoes themselves. So there is still potential for this shoe to end up looking like garbage, like the same thing that happened with the Shadow Backboard 3.0s, which looked amazing in renderings and then came up looking how they do. And until we actually see any in-hand images, I'm still holding my breath because I know Jordan Brand has a potential to mess things up in the last minute, and I just hope that they don't. It also kind of sucks that it's been 5 years since we got the last Bred ones and 6 years since we got the last Chicagos, and the closest thing we're getting to that is a patent leather version. I don't know, I just wish we'd get another Bred retro sometime in the near future, but I just don't see that happening. Maybe in 2022, who knows, but for right now, this is what we've got. But for me, as someone whose favorite shoe of all time is the Bred ones, this shoe is a must cop, and I will probably be doubling up as long as it looks like a pair of patent leather Bred ones. If it ends up not looking like a Bred one, I'm not gonna buy it, on principle. But the good news is we probably don't have too much longer to wait before we start seeing official images of this shoe, because the shoe is slated to release on October 23rd of this year. So recently, new images came out of a grade school pair of Air Jordan 3 Sport Blues. And based on these official images, it does look like we're getting probably a full family size run of these Sport Blue 3s, which I gotta be honest, I'm very excited about. The one thing I don't like about this shoe is the elephant print. Why does it look like that? It doesn't look like suede with pressed details like it usually is. It looks like a printed thing on some plastic. It honestly looks like trash. I'm gonna be real. I'm hoping that this is only on the grade school size and the full men's version is gonna have the standard elephant print, but who knows? I just don't understand the change. I don't know why they would do that to the shoe. It just kind of looks like it cheapens the design, and it really bums me out. So hopefully when it comes to actual production pairs, at least for men's sizing, we'll have standard elephant print. And if you're okay with the elephant print and you're trying to grab a pair of these for yourself, they should be dropping on July 10th. Next up, it looks like we finally have a release date for the highly anticipated Travis Scott Air Jordan 6 British Khaki. This shoe is the follow-up to the wildly successful Travis Scott Air Jordan 6. However, even though it's the same silhouette and technically the same collaboration, they did decide to change things up a little bit when it comes to materials and colors. Unlike the original Travis Scott 6s, this shoe decides to trade in the olive-colored nubuck for a much hairier tan or khaki-colored suede. And as far as colorways go, no, this khaki or tan colorway isn't as original as that olive colorway, but it's still a good look, and I like the materials used on the shoe better than the original. But of course, even though there are differences, there are definitely some similarities, like the glow-in-the-dark accents on the shoe, and of course, those little hits of orange on the Jumpman and on the heel. Oh, and of course, like the original shoe, you still have the stash pockets around the ankle. I don't know, personally, I've never been a huge fan of the Travis Scott Air Jordan 6s. In fact, the only Travis Scott shoes that I even have at the moment are the Travis Scott Air Jordan 1 highs, and that's because all the other pairs that I've had, I've never really wanted to wear. And so this is a shoe that, while yes, I might pick it up for a review, I'm not gonna be grabbing it for like an everyday wear. I mean, okay, yeah, if I can get it for retail, I'll probably wear the crap out of it, but let's be honest, I'm not getting this shoe for retail. If you're trying to grab a pair of the Travis Scott Air Jordan 6 British Khakis, as I'm sure most people will be trying to grab a pair, you do have a chance to grab this shoe on April 29th. After that, we've got a pretty interesting story about the USPS, or United States Postal Service, threatening to take action at Nike over their upcoming USPS-themed Nike Air Force 1 lows. So first off, I've got to say, I don't know why the hell Nike decided to make a shoe like this. When you think of buying sneakers online, especially now in the age of StockX and buying shoes from Nike and places like that, you expect your shoes to come from FedEx or UPS. In fact, at this point, I don't think Nike ever sends shoes through the USPS. I think the rumor going around is that the reason this shoe is designed like this is because when people resell their shoes, they ship them through the USPS, which I guess I kind of get, but at the same time, it's like, all right, that's kind of a weak story behind a shoe. I mean, the shoe itself doesn't look good enough for that to be the story. And what's even crazier is that now that the USPS is threatening to sue Nike over these sneakers, I bet these shoes won't even release. And so grabbing a pair of these, if you can, which you probably can't because I don't think you grabbed a pair early, I bet inevitably for those few pairs that were stolen from the warehouse or taken or whatever the case may be when it comes to early sneakers, those pairs would be worth thousands of dollars if the release ends up not happening. Now, knowing Nike and knowing how large of a company they have and probably how large their legal team is, I'm sure there's a way that they can wriggle their way out of this if they really do want to release the sneakers, but I think if they just want to avoid the problem altogether, they might not release them. I just don't know how something like this happened. Like, how did Nike not see this coming? You're kind of almost copying a design element from from another brand and you don't expect them to come at you for it? I mean, you do that to people all the time. I don't know. I guess if the shoes don't release, it'll be a much more interesting story because then those pairs will be grails for some people, even though if they had released normally, no one would have cared about them. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I'm interested to see if they do actually get sued, if they end up not releasing the shoes, or where this story goes. So make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet, if you want to hear more about this story, because I will be updating you in future weekly heats. Following that up, Jordan Brand just announced their summer 2021 sneaker release lineup. And I figured for this segment of the video, I'd actually read off the sneakers from my phone because there's so many of them, I couldn't have memorized them, and I want to give you guys just a quick overview of each shoe, or all the shoes that kind of matter. So the first shoe that they announced is the women's Air Jordan 1 High OG, which is based on the 1985 purple metallic. I've got to say, I wish this was a men's release because this would have been like a perfect Ravens pair, but it is what it is. I mean, I could still fit it probably, but I don't know. They don't cut the shoes the same. It's kind of frustrating. The shoe comes in basically the same makeup as a standard metallic Air Jordan 1. You've got primarily white leather with metallic sort of plasticky details around the ankle area. It's a nice looking shoe, and it's one that I would have definitely picked up if it came in men's sizing. Oh, and one other thing. Nike hasn't officially announced the release dates for any of these shoes, so I don't know most of the release dates, so I'm going to leave those out, and you can kind of just stay on top of those through sit or sell videos or, your own research. So I'll pretty much just be looking at the design elements and telling you what shoes are actually dropping this summer. After that, we've got the women's Air Jordan 11 Low Bright Citrus. We last saw the shoe released back in 2015, I think, and now it's coming back. It is, of course, a low, all-white Air Jordan 11 with a bright orange accent on the outsole. It's not a bad-looking sneaker. I know when it released last time, people were hype about it. It was reselling for a decent amount of money. I don't know if that'll be the case this time because I think 11s aren't as popular as they used to be. Following that up, we've got the women's Air Jordan 3 in the rust pink colorway, which I've already talked about in some sit or sell videos. It's a nice looking shoe. It comes in like a rust pink suede with some sort of infrared accents. Again, wish the shoe was coming out in men's sizing. I would have rocked it for sure. Then we've got a shoe which I'm sure a lot of people are excited about, the reverse shadow Air Jordan 1s. Now that's not what they call this shoe, they just call it the Air Jordan 1 High OG in this article, but it is what it is. It comes in black leather with light smoke gray nubuck overlays, which is a nice touch. Very similar to what we saw with the Jordan 1s that released like in 2018, the sort of summer Jordan 1s, and apparently the shoe comes in full family sizing. But then after that, we've got a shoe that I know most people are excited about, and that's the Air Jordan 1 Hyper Royal. Now this is another shoe that I talked about in a sit or sell video because it's coming out at the end of this month. This is a shoe that I'm especially hyped on. I don't think it's as cool as the other Air Jordan 1 that released earlier this year, but that is what it is. The shoe comes in a white leather upper accented by a light smoke gray nubuck swoosh, as well as some Hyper Royal Nike Air branding on the tongue and some suede blue overlays. I think it's an incredible looking shoe. It's coming in full family sizing, and unfortunately, as I'm sure a lot of you guys already know, this shoe will be very, very difficult to get. I've been trying to buy a pair early for a review for like a month at this point, and I still can't find it anywhere. After that, we've got the Air Jordan 1 High Light Fusion, which is like a red, yellow, and white Air Jordan 1. Very summery, very like popsicle-y. It comes with a laser orange detail on the swoosh and on the collar. It's got a white leather base with hits of like red leather. It's an alright looking shoe. Not something that I want personally, but I know people will be excited about it. And knowing the fact that it is an Air Jordan 1 and how popular those shoes are right now, it's still going to be a pretty popular colorway, even though it's kind of bleh. After that, we've got a different take on the Air Jordan 4 White Cement. We've talked about this shoe in previous weekly heat videos. It's not as good as the standard white cements, but it's not a bad look. And because we're not getting the standard white cements, I guess people will have to be happy with this shoe. It comes with a white leather upper, sort of cement colored midsole accents, and then no black. No black anywhere on the shoe. So it is what it is. If you like it, great. If you don't, that's fine too. Next up, we've got a pair of black and neon green Air Jordan 6s, which were obviously inspired by the Oregon 6s. This shoe comes with the full black upper. It features a glow-in-the-dark outsole, which I actually didn't know, that's pretty cool, as well as some neon-inspired Air Jordan 6 hits. It's an alright looking shoe. It's not something that I really feel like picking up, but I know a lot of people out there will be really into it. Next up, we've got the Air Jordan 7 Flint Gray Court Purple, which is re-releasing for the first time since 2006, I believe. It might have retroed one time in between there, but I'm not 100% sure. This shoe comes with nubuck quarter panels, white leather, as well as purple accents throughout, and not only that, it's coming in full family sizing. So if you dig this colorway, you like the original, grab this shoe. If you're like me and you don't really care about this shoe, just let it go. Then we've got a shoe which I'm actually looking forward to a pretty decent amount, and that's the Air Jordan 11 Low Legend Blue. So this shoe comes in that standard Legend Blue makeup. You've got a white upper with white patent leather and then an icy blue outsole. I tried to grab the last regular release of this shoe back in 2014. I was not successful. The Nike.com website was so much worse than it is now. It was still just as hard to grab sneakers, but it was a pretty awful experience. So I've never had a pair, and I'd love to get the low top version. Next up is the Air Jordan 12 Low Easter, which actually already released, so we don't really need to talk about that. I don't know why they always put shoes which already released in like their summer lineups or whatever lineup lists that they have. It doesn't make sense to me, but it is what it is. And then finally, the last shoe which they mentioned is the Air Jordan 13 Gym Red. This is an Air Jordan 13 with a pretty similar colorway to the Flints, except instead of blue, you've got bright red. That's pretty much about it. It's a nice looking shoe. I love red, but it's not a shoe that I feel like I need personally. But that's all the summer 2021 Air Jordan mainline releases that they announced last week. But that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be more Jordan brand releases this summer. In fact, it looks like the next shoe that we're talking about is actually going to be releasing this summer as well. And that shoe, of course, is the Travis Scott Fragment Air Jordan 1s, or at least in this case, the Friends and Family version. So apparently, not only is there a Travis Scott Fragment Air Jordan 1 in the works, but there's also a Friends and Family version. And unfortunately, the Friends and Family version looks way better. In fact, the Friends and Family version looks very similar to the Fragment ones, except with some Travis details. Which, I mean, that sucks because I really want the Fragment ones. I mean, the standard version's alright. Like, it looks fine. It's based off a sample that was never released from like back in the day, but man, I really want a pair of Fragments, and I don't want to pay like $6,000 for them. Ugh, it sucks. But based on these leaked images, we can see that the shoe has that black eye stay, which the standard release won't have. It has a white eye stay, and that honestly makes all the difference. And to make matters worse, we don't even know when the standard pair is releasing or how many pairs are gonna drop. I would assume it's gonna be limited, like very, very limited, but we don't know how limited yet. So stay tuned to Weekly Heat. I'll keep you guys updated on any new information. And then finally, rounding off the video for today, it looks like the Yeezy D-Rose Foam Runner might not be the only Yeezy D-Rose sneaker dropping. According to D-Rose's Instagram, it looks like there's not only a Yeezy Foam Runner dropping or a D-Rose Yeezy Foam Runner dropping, but there's also an entire collection dropping, including on-court performance basketball sneakers. Which, to be honest, makes sense. D-Rose is an Adidas athlete, Kanye is just like a hype machine at Adidas, so it makes sense that they're doing something together. I think it's gonna be a really awesome collaboration. I can't wait to see it. So far, we've only seen the D-Rose Foam Runner, and we've only seen those shoes on D-Rose's wife's feet. So, I mean, it didn't look right because obviously they were size 11. She probably has size 7 feet or size 6 feet. So I don't know what the shoes will actually look like on normal people's feet or when you see a normal size on her feet. I don't know. But I'm excited to see the shoe. I think it looks wild. I don't like the design as much as the regular Foam Runners, but I still want to have a pair. But for me, the most exciting part is what this whole collection is going to look like and how these D-Rose Yeezy sneakers are going to look. I actually think Kanye will benefit a lot from having a professional basketball player helping design the shoes, because with the Quantums, it seemed like they were kind of designed first and then made to work as a basketball sneaker. Hopefully, this upcoming Yeezy Rose collection will be designed from the ground up as a basketball performance collection, and so because of that, it should perform better on court. I also heard in one of Roscoe's live streams that apparently D-Rose's wife tweeted out a picture and it had like the name of the picture on it and said Yeezy 350 V2 High or something like that. So it's possible there might actually be a Yeezy 350 V2 High, but that's really a different story for a different day, and until we have more information on that, I don't want to dig any deeper. All that being said though, I cannot wait to see what comes out of Yeezy Rose, and I'm also very excited for these Foam Runners, which I think are dropping in the somewhat near future. We don't have a release date yet, but I keep hearing that they're coming soon, so stay tuned for those. But with that, we pretty much wrap up Weekly Heat for this week. Now, I would love to know your thoughts on everything that we talked about in today's video, the Air Jordan lineup, the Travis Scott Fragments, even Yeezy Rose. Make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell down below if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.